Hey, I'm Sion, an American living in Kazakhstan, and this is These Are My People. Each episode, I sit down with one friend to talk about where they want to be 10 years from now, what drives them, and the plans they're making to get there. We'll also dive into one interesting topic. These are ordinary people with ordinary dreams. Hi guys, welcome to These Are My People. This week with me, I've got Adina. Adina is one of my colleagues. I guess I've had almost all of my colleagues on the podcast at this point. But Adina, could you introduce yourself, say something about you?
My name is Adina. I'm 31.
Okay.
And I teach English for a living. So
Okay.
That's basically it.
Okay, yeah. So today's topic is conspiracy theories. I was a little hesitant to do this topic because on my Instagram, I always see conspiracy theories, and I don't want to be like a conspiracy theory podcast, but it's interesting for me. And the reason I asked Adina is because Adina's the only person I feel like I can mention a conspiracy theory to, and you don't feel like, Sian, have you lost your mind? Have you gone crazy? And I wouldn't call myself a conspiracy theorist. I'm a little afraid to call myself a conspiracy theorist, but I'm dabbling in it. I'm dipping my toes in the waters of conspiracy theory. But what's your relationship with conspiracy theory? Yeah.
Well, I can say that I majored in history.
Okay.
And I mentioned that because history and I think humanity is all about critical thinking and stuff.
Yeah.
And when you are young and inexperienced, you think that critical thinking is all about reading the correct books and trusting the correct authorities, but it's actually about your own thinking.
Okay.
And my relationship with conspiracy started probably after I graduated and started exploring life on my own.
Okay.
And I went down the rabbit hole that is the internet.
Yeah.
And I my question to myself was if I'm so smart and I have such strong critical thinking skills, why am I afraid so much of just learning about conspiracy theories?
Sure.
If you're so confident in your in your intellectual skills, probably you shouldn't afraid of being exposed to different perspectives.
Yeah, okay. So for you, conspiracy theory is more just a different perspective.
It's a different perspective that actually could be somewhat true sometimes.
Okay.
And it's a different perspective that even if it's not true, it can give you additional perspective that could be helpful, and also that could help you learn something new.
Okay. I think so. I mean, growing up, you always hear these stories about the Yeti and abominable snowman, you know, and Bigfoot. So for me, that's where I first heard about some conspiracy. But during COVID time, my mom started talking a lot about conspiracy theories about COVID. And I was in our family, you did not bring up COVID because you would know that my mother would speak for about 3 hours about COVID. Sorry, Mom, but it's true. But that's kind of when I started thinking about conspiracy. And everyone in my family kind of laughs at my mom because she's become more and more into conspiracy theories. But recently, I noticed that on my Instagram, all of my feed is just conspiracy theory, conspiracy. And so I think I'm slowly also becoming a conspiracy theorist. They're interesting though.
Yeah.
They're interesting, but it's hard to, especially these days with AI. I was sitting with my friend even this morning, and she showed me this video, and she's like, can you believe that? That's crazy. I said, that's AI. That's definitely AI. And so it's hard, especially these days, to think, okay, what is done by AI on the internet? What is actually real? I saw some videos about giants, which is a topic interesting for me. But they said, oh, actually, all those photos were just AI done. So how is it that we can critically evaluate these conspiracy theories to decide, are they just conspiracy? What do you think?
I think you should ask questions. What does it make you feel and do?
Okay.
If you probably if you read any information and it makes you panic and mistrust the world, and you want to just like, you know, lock yourself up in a room
Yeah.
and never interact, like probably it's not reliable information, because like humanity, like the known history of humanity is like 2000 years probably, and over these years, like probably people survived, and there is nothing that could happen that could like annihilate the entire humanity, so probably you shouldn't worry too much.
Okay, so then in which situations would something be considered not conspiracy for you and actually reality, maybe?
Well, like for example, when we talk about vaccines and COVID, like there was so many people that were like talking about how it's irrational and actually dangerous to kind of question vaccines. But I think like you don't have to be like genius to understand that vaccines like somewhat like they're good and they help us protect ourselves against like pandemics. But it's just like I was kind of the conspiracy theories about vaccines helped me personally. Like, I like to explore like both sides of the issue always, and it helped me discover a lot of stories when actually people were like somehow harmed by vaccines. Like any drug has side effects that are unpredictable. And there is like, for every drug that exists on this planet, out of 100%, there is at least 1% of people who will have probably like fatal consequences, and their lives matter too. And when we kind of suggest that all the drugs are 100% work for everyone, it's more of a, like, I think you're playing, how to say, you're just uncritically blindly supporting all the pharmaceutical companies that just like deny all the effects of their vaccines. So probably like, I think that, so this is one of the theories.
Conspiracy is if you feel like you just want to hide from everything because you're afraid because of this conspiracy, and non-conspiracy would be, how can you shorten your definition of something that is actually maybe true?
Non-conspiracy is something that probably like you should have your inner common sense that developed over the years. And that's like intuition, you can call it common sense, you can just filter information through that. I don't believe in like any authorities anymore, any reliable journals or whatever, because like the more you learn about it, how easily it is like to build this, how so to say, conspiracy, for example, between doctors and pharmaceutical companies, that they're like earnings depend on the drugs they prescribe. Like the more you learn about journals, how they are peer reviewed. So I think you should just trust yourself. Which is also dangerous because you can be like psychotic or something. Like, I don't know.
Trust yourself unless you're psychotic. I don't know. It's funny. That's the way you define conspiracy theory, because a few weeks ago, maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago, I started seeing a lot of videos on Instagram about how there's going to be massive blackouts around the world, like without internet. People are going to starve. People are going to go broke because they can't work, because we rely on internet connection and electricity to work. And in the winter they'll freeze. And I started, well, actually this came from like a Simpsons episode. You've heard, right, about all the Simpsons episodes that predict. So it started from that, and then I started seeing a lot of other videos about it, how the World Economic Forum, they were talking about preparing for big blackouts, and they're the ones who also talked about how before COVID, we need to prepare for what happens if we have a pandemic. So it's a little fishy. And I started seeing lots of videos. And you know, on Instagram, the more you watch, the more it will give you. So I was digging myself in a deeper hole. And I started getting worried, like, oh no, my parents, what will I do? What will my parents do? This will be awful. And then you saw what happened recently in, where was it? In Europe, was it Spain and Italy.
I think West Europe.
Somewhere, yeah, there were two countries that had massive blackouts, and I thought, what is going on? So I was really nervous about that. So I wanted to talk about a few conspiracies, and actually the first one was the blackouts in Europe, because there's a lot of talk going on about why these happened. Have you thought about them as conspiracy, or for you it's just like, oh?
I wasn't interested in particularly this conspiracy theory, but I want to say that I think partially I could kind of trace or kind of find the roots of my conspiracy theory love in my parents, in my father, because he's this guy who always talks, comments everything that is shown on the news, and it's he always tried to kind of decipher what's happening behind it. They're showing you the facade, of course, on the news. He was trying always to get what's behind it, what kind of decisions are made. And I think that's how I got interested in in politics and history. And when I hear about blackouts or anything that somehow disturbs the peace, I think that it could be how to say. I sound like a Fox News anchor. It could be a provocation, you know, for some people to achieve their goals, they need some kind of popular opinion, right? That the easiest way is to kind of manipulate people, probably to interpret their protest as something that was. That is their democratic will, something like that. So probably, I don't know why it's happening. It could be something it could be encouraged by someone who wants to
initiate something, maybe. So do you think, as far as blackouts, that's it? They're one and done with, or two and done with? Or do you think this was a trial run? I'm afraid that this is more of a trial run. I saw, where was it? I think in India or maybe South America, they also had blackouts. I think it was India. Yeah, for sure, India. And now I'm thinking in January, when I was home for Christmas in California, we had the massive storm which caused the fires, which there's also conspiracy behind the fires. But there was a massive windstorm and we were without electricity. First world country, 21st century, no electricity for about 48 hours. And luckily my mom, because she's a conspiracy theorist, she has a solar generator. She has a room filled with food, emergency food. So we were okay without electricity, and it was only 48 hours. But it started back then, and I'm connecting these pieces. And I remember I saw something, I think it was even last year, a long time ago, about how the people on top, whoever they are wanting to do some kind of reset. And to do that, they need to black out the internet. And so they can do whatever this reset is. So what do you think? Is it one and done with, or are we going to see more of this?
I think, of course, for us to make reliable conclusions, we need to understand how your electricity system or European electricity system works, where it comes from, and whether the deficits are possible. My wild guess could be that it's all about making the internet and electricity luxury. And saying that, we have run out of the electricity capacity and we cannot increase the production, so we have to increase the prices, and then internet will be accessible only to those who can afford it, which will be and the internet is quickly becoming in the past we would think it's just how to say, it's an offshore zone where there are no rules. Now it's becoming part of your life, and you have
a necessity even.
Necessity, and also you can suffer from legal consequences of what you do on the internet. And I think now, in order to probably decrease the number of people who would be more kind of inciting some kind of who would just speak their mind and uncensored truth, so to say, probably they will just limit the internet for people.
That's interesting, because I often think how much we rely on Google, ChatGPT, especially. I use ChatGPT every day, but I think how much we rely on, the internet, on Google. And if just Google itself became a paid service, I don't like to pay for services like on the internet. But is that something I would pay for? I guess I would, because without Google, I don't know, what is our life?
Yeah, and the thing is that if we rely on Google and ChatGPT, it's again, all of this is controlled by these corporations. And if it becomes like fixed in our mind that what we find on the internet is something that we can rely on, it's actually like a great disaster, because anything could be deleted and edited on the internet. And probably only those who go to this academic places, universities, and have access to reliable databases, only those would have some kind of reliable information about the world.
There's these schools in America now that are all AI. There might be like a teacher, but it's more someone in the room to make sure everybody is doing what they need to, but there's no teacher to teach the classes. Each kid has their own tailored school program based on AI, and then they learn in-person skills like public speaking, home workshop, that kind of thing. On the one hand, that's awesome, that's really cool, and the students from these schools, they have double the learning time, half the learning time, so that they're learning faster. They even did one of these schools in a low-income community. Their scores went up. The scores are better, the learning time is faster, it's amazing. But what's scary about that is AI is controlling everything that you're learning.
Yeah.
That's really scary. And I was thinking, if I had kids, I'd send them to that kind. That's so innovative. I love that. In general, even as a teacher, I like to use technology in my class. But it's scary when you think that AI is what is controlling what the future generation
that's
is
why
learning.
I think if you are learning through AI, you should make sure that you or your child is exposed to some crazy relatives, some weird people,
some
so
conspiracy theorists.
So that you have more diversity of thinking in the world.
Okay. So another conspiracy that I am newer to is that whoever it is, I'm not sure, government or whoever, in planes, they're putting, in the past, when we were children and we saw a plane go by, we saw this white trail behind, but it would disappear somewhat quickly, right? So now they're noticing that the white trails of some planes, they last a long time. And after a few hours, the skies become actually kind of like today, very cloudy. And the theory is that they're poisoning the air. I haven't gotten down to why or what exactly their purpose is. But it was interesting because last week it was a very sunny morning, and then I saw planes going over, and a few hours later it was so cloudy, so overcast. And I thought, what the heck? I mean, it could just be weather. It could. But with all conspiracies, it could be something, Have you heard about this conspiracy?
Yeah, I think it got popular during COVID times.
Oh, did it?
That a lot of people believe that COVID is spread by this
by the
chemical trails. Yeah, so again, so the question is there is no way you can know whether it is true or not. The question is, what does that make you do?
Okay.
So, and if that makes you do something good, then it's fine, I think. So, about chemical trails, I heard that they somehow distort our perception, something like that. Also. So again, what it teaches me, what this makes me think, all these conspiracy theories about even reptile people and something like that.
Oh yeah.
Is that it all comes down somehow to spirituality.
Okay.
Is that you should be aware of your shadows, some hidden motivations, and that you should probably. So it's all about being well-rounded and ethical person.
Okay.
So if you like conspiracy theories, I think it could be good if that makes you a better person.
Okay.
Okay.
So as far as these planes and the chemical trails, do you have an opinion about it?
I don't have an opinion about it. I think like even if it's true, what can you do about it?
What can you do? Yeah, that's true.
I have like a stoic response. It's like we should only think about the things that we can control, something like that.
Okay. The last one I wanted to mention, maybe it's not so much conspiracy, but I saw something the other day, and it was talking about how a lot of people our age don't want children.
Mm-hmm.
We've talked about this before a long time ago, if you remember. And the video said, like, just imagine with all the millennials that don't want children, how many years of propaganda on the internet have they been filling you with? And then I started getting nervous, and I thought, like, what kind of things? You know, in life we want things and we think it's because we want it. For us, it's rational, it's logical, it's reasonable. But then when someone says there's like propaganda out there putting it in you, and you're thinking, do I want it because I want it? Or do I want it because I've been filled with
brainwashed?
Am I brainwashed? So I don't know. Have you ever felt these things? Like, are the things that I want because I want them? Or have you thought about this?
Yeah, of course, that makes you think. And I think like today, especially due to the internet, it appears like as if everyone hates everyone. And there is more of a propaganda about, like, for example, like people not wanting to have families even because of patriarchy, which is true. But again, like, why should you deprive yourself of like the having a chance of having family due to this, right? So I think like the way of understanding whether it's your choice or not is just like, I don't know, probably like I don't know. It's just asking yourself whether it's your choice.
Yeah.
I think it's just your choice is about just making sure that you listen to all parts of yourself. Because, like, I'm not. I don't know about you, but like, I'm not very enthusiastic about having children, and I think like there are like two voices in me. One of it is like that life is great sometimes, and it would be nice to pass down all your experience and all the knowledge you've like collected to someone who could do better like in this life than you, and that's great. But like part of me is thinking about all the difficulties that you're going to live through when you choose to have a child. So far, like at this point in my life, I can't afford to have a child.
Well,
Like, I think it's my decision anyway.
Yeah. Okay. So are there any very interesting conspiracies, or maybe funny? What's your favorite conspiracy theory? Do you have
favorite conspiracy theory? My favorite conspiracy theory is about the origin of conspiracy theory. Because like I cannot kind of provide a quote where I got this information from, but I heard that the word the phrase conspiracy theory was invented by the CIA to label everyone who is actually speaking truth. So I prefer to believe it's true. Because like I heard that like at some point, for example, in the US, people labeled as conspiracy theories this information about experiments being conducted on people, and then like I know that today it is kind of fact-checked information that I think I don't know the exact years, but I think like before the Martin Luther King thing, like I think 50s or early 60s, there were experiments conducted on Black people on the stages of syphilis. So they just observed people dying from syphilis to just like describe the stages of the disease, which is like very unethical.
Yeah. It's interesting. Don't quote me on this because it's just from my brain of Instagram videos that I've seen. So you know that Trump has unclassified, I don't know if you've heard, unclassified a lot of documents that were classified in the past. Have you heard about this?
No.
No, okay. So he's come out and he's unclassified a lot of documents, and a lot of the conspiracy theories that people had, they have been proven, like, because of these documents now unclassified, they've been proven true.
Really?
So, and don't ask me which ones. I just saw a video on it maybe last week. It was saying, this conspiracy, true. This conspiracy, true. So yeah, a lot of conspiracies. I also heard that the CIA made that up so that people would think, oh, they're crazy because they're just talking about conspiracy, but actually it's true.
Yeah, and like I think we can also talk about something like that is kind of more or less official, like WikiLeaks, for example.
Yeah.
Again, like they revealed a lot of war crimes, for example, and like if it wasn't for like the real footage of all this crimes, probably it was also be labeled as conspiracy theory.
Yeah, so conspiracy theories for me are something very interesting. As I said, I'm still dabbling in them. I mean, I like to explore them. I go into them with a very open mind, but I also like to check my facts, as you said, and read both sides of the story.
What do you think about flat Earth conspiracy?
I'm not a flat earther, okay? Somebody recently said, like, are you going to tell me that it's because of the pictures from NASA that you're not a flat earther? And I was like, well, kind of. But, I mean, there's, gravity, the way that the stars move. Well, are you you're not a flat earther, are you?
I'm not a flat earther. It's just like, I think you don't have to look at NASA pictures to discover that our planet is like spherical.
Yeah.
Because like it was discovered long before the pictures. Because like I think it were Greeks.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Galileo he described the movement of like the Earth around the Sun. But, like I think it was Greeks who found out that like you can't see anything beyond the horizon.
Right.
Like, if everything was flat, we would just see the endless like land probably. But I like to explore, like exercise in my mind even that kind of theory.
Okay.
And like I learned about the field of math. Okay. Called topology.
Yeah.
And it actually, I think I'm afraid to
give misinformation.
Misinformation? No, it's not misinformation. It's just I'm afraid to give the wrong definition of what topology is.
Okay.
But topology, as I understand, it studies different forms. Yeah. Like from human forms to like perfect geometrical forms. Okay. And there is like a theory of Poincaré. Okay. Which wasn't proven, like it wasn't proven by anyone for like a lot of years, probably a century. And a Russian mathematician, I forgot his name, but like he was given a Nobel Prize for solving it. Okay. And like talking about the forms, like this conspiracy theory about flat Earth made me think about like the shapes, and I kind of went down the rabbit hole and learned about topology. And according to topology, any shape on this planet could be kind of mathematically, mathematically it could be assembled into either sphere or toroid. Okay. So like, and also there are theories of the universe that say that universe is not like something endless. It is just it's in the form of toroid. Okay. So actually, like all the stars and planets, they're going around like this.
Oh, yeah.
So it's like a big donut.
Oh, okay.
So like again, if like even if this flat Earth is going to be true, it's just I think with our perception of the world with 3D, like probably it is spherical, but probably there is another dimension, like fourth or fifth dimension, where the Earth is flat.
Maybe.
So, like, yeah, but so far we live in the dimension where we have to think and we have to be sure that it's Spherical.
Spherical.
Yeah, you see, like, you can go crazy with this.
You can absolutely go crazy. Yeah, that's great.
That's true.
Well, Adina, thank you very much for talking about conspiracy with me. Yeah. I love to talk about it. I could talk about a million conspiracies. So go watch The Simpsons, learn about our future. Just kidding. Yeah. So thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.